Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yesterday, we got a handout that where the governor talked to us about the credit rating. We talked about fiscal strength, credit rating, and economic development. So my first question has to do with the wording in the credit rating where it says the state's credit worthiness and credit rating could improve. Senator Hendrick, could you talk to me about what the could improve actually means in reality? And if you can, also include in that, what are the other terms that a rating outfit looks at to determine whether or not we move from AA to AAA, since this is a could move us?
Yeah, and again, these rating agencies are not going to say, if you do X, we will change your rating situation to Y. What they will do is say, you were not able to achieve the best credit rating, and here are the factors why. And so then it's up to the state to either determine that they're going to change policy to make an effort to satisfy those concerns, or they're not. I think I was clear about this yesterday. I would not expect that we adjourn tomorrow and pass this legislation, that immediately our credit rating increases to AAA. What I would expect is at the next review, as bonds are issued, that there's each one of these steps we take to develop a credible reserve account, because it has been identified as a deficiency, and one of the reasons that we are not eligible for the highest rating will make it more likely that we will move down that path. Whether it's going to require $100 million reserve or $200 million reserve or $50 million reserve, it may vary from rating agency to rating agency, but I can tell you that I think it consistently has been stated, and it's the information that Senator Raper gave us, that a state with no reserve is going to have a hard time getting the maximum credit rating when we're surrounded by states that have significant reserves.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Chairman, I was going to ask my next question to Senator Raper, since he had those other factors, but he gave them to me. And so I'm looking at these other factors that have to do with the government framework is one of them, the financial management is one of them, the economy. And under the economy is the one that just at a first glance that really gets my attention, because this one has, under the economy, they consider demographic profile, economic structure, wealth and income indicators, and economic development. And the one that if we were to pass this bill that might be impacted is economic development. But it definitely would not, as far as I can see, impact demographic profile, economic structure, and wealth and income. And the fourth one is budgetary performance, where we find the reserve. And then the last one is debt and liability profile, just for your information, if anybody wants to know. So my conundrum here is with these other four factors that are mentioned out there, and especially when we look at our demographics and the economic wealth of our state, I'm struggling with them. With the reason we have could improve here is this really going to be a factor that's going to change things when we have not, in fact, I don't think, performed very well in many of these other things? For example, I don't know if we will ever get a bond rating necessarily, unless there's some kind of twist of statistics, which we know can happen. If it's really, really important that we get this bond rating, and we have never really had any structural, serious way of doing something about our wealth and income indicators in our state, for example, which should be a hallmark of any state's of any state's sustainability when it comes to income. I don't know what this will do. So I guess the thing I would just ask us to think about, I don't know what the answer is. If doing this is really going to make the difference when you look at these other factors. And the other question I have, Senator Hendry, if you could just square this for me, because like Representative Payton, when I was looking at this last night about the funds could be used for economic development super projects or it could be used for anything, any of the fund accounts in the revenue stabilization. So somewhere I guess I got confused yesterday when the governor was speaking to us and he said it could be used for 3 factors. Just square that with me, the 3 factors he mentioned, but then it could also be used for anything, any of the accounts in revenue stabilization.
So what's the question?
The question is, Part B, the same part that Representative Payton mentioned. I looked at this last night, and I guess I just missed it yesterday, where it says the monies from the long-term reserve fund can be used for 1 or more of the fund accounts in revenue stabilization law. And there are several fund accounts in that law. But yesterday, when the governor was talking to us, he said we could use this money for economic development. And the question I asked you yesterday was about education adequacy, then the third one. I'm asking, how do we square that, or did I just misunderstand those 3 things? But this language says it could be used for any of the accounts for revenue stabilization. I missed something.
Well, as Representative Payton pointed out, the requirement for economic development projects is one of the ones that does not require the economic downturn of 3% in order to access those dollars. In order to fund shortfalls in RSA or adequacy or some of those other things, which should already have been funded in the budget, you have to meet that criteria. So again, I think the idea there is if it is a true long-term reserve account, and if Arkansas were able to significantly build this account up to $400 or $500 million, and there was an economic development project that presented itself that required timely response and availability of funds with 2/3 vote requirement approval by council or budget, they could tap those funds. And as I've said, I would not support doing that in almost any case until we built that fund up significantly. The point that you make about there are many factors determining a bond rating is true, and we need to work on all of those things at once, including raising wages and lowering unemployment, some of the things that we're making progress on, tax code and other things. But when the rating has clearly specified a deficiency in your state in comparison to other states is the lack of a credible reserve, that is why we're doing this.
Well,